So what are you doing today, Maureen? Well, typically at this time of year, June 1st, I always like to do caterpillar. 2 years ago, June 1st, I always wanted to kind of do that, kind of pre-mid garden, kind of show of what's growing. And so 2 years ago, it was astounding what I was growing, and it was my first time, and I only had little patches of things, but everything was growing fabulously. This year, June 1st, I was like, I'm not going out. I've decided to say that June is the new April. It has been so cold here. It's been absolutely ridiculous. And so much has died, and we've had some, horrendous rains and things like that. Then the slugs, of course, have just taken over, and it's just been a gong show. One of the things that I did find out, or I did realize, looking at, I had about 70 tomato plants, and I had all those Big Max pumpkins. If you've looked at some of my other videos, you'll see all of this stuff that was inside of my greenhouse studio. And, everything came up, they were growing, doing well, and then it was just like, they just started to die off. And, and it was like, what am I doing wrong? Am I overwatering, underwatering? It was like, I don't know. And some of the plants that I sent up to my mom's house, same sort of thing up there. And she's a bit more avid about making sure she gives fertilizer. I thought maybe I'm not feeding them enough. And she and we kind of said, I think it's the soil. I think there's something wrong with the soil. And then I was just watching another YouTube gardener that I follow, and she said the same thing. It was the soil. And when I'm looking at her garden, again, typically you would start seeing the heads of your cabbage and broccoli, and things would start, coming along, and it's just not. And so she did some investigation, and sure enough, she said there's something lacking in the soil. And then the comments on the YouTube video were the same thing. They go, oh good, it's not me. And being that I'm still a novice gardener, I just thought it was something I was doing wrong and felt very discouraged by this year. And so you're gonna see what an April garden would look like in the middle of June. It's just very sad. So anyway, come along. So starting with our potato patch, it's looking pretty good. I've got 3 different kinds of grapes there. This is a red, that's a white, and then in the corner is a Gewürztraminer. My doll baby watermelons, we planted 4 in here. There was this one I was going to have climb. He's not doing so well. I have repotted one. I had one more in the back, so I repotted it and brought it in. From the front, I've placed these squashes in here. Now some have died, and again, I had more potted up, so I replaced them with that. So the grape trellis that Marissa bought, you can see with the grapes. Yeah, is it overkill to have 3 grapes growing on this little trellis? Yeah. The 4 different grow bags. I had put 5 squashes. Again, lots died off. So this one's doing okay. Our turmeric, I don't seem to see any new turmeric, is in the second one. The third one is the ginger. I haven't seen any new ginger. And then the 4th one is Jerusalem artichoke. Then if we walk over here, you can see this is a scallopini, or a patty pan. Again, I have done some replacements of whatever squashes were in the straw bales, but so far it's not looking too bad with the yams. So these were yams that were from last year, from the vines that had rooted. I'm really grateful that the garlic was at least something that survived. We're now at the place where we're starting to see the scapes. As soon as the scapes do their curl, like this one here. So once it does this curl around, then we can come and cut it. Marissa is planning to do kind of a scape butter. So she's gonna chop them all up and put them in butter. And so that we'll have this kind of garlic butter that we always have ready on hand. Yes. Lots of the onions. These are onions, the ones that are going to seed. They're from last year. I do really need to pull out the bindweed, but just have not gotten around to it. Same with the leeks. So those are the ones going to seed are last year's leeks. So I'm letting some of them go to seed just so I can get some seed. Our artichoke this year, he looks like he's finally going to make it. And I did put some yams in the ground here because I just had some extras. So that's us in what's in the front yard. And then in the mid yard here, I'm gonna take you over to one of my other addictions. Elderberry flowers, yay! So they're flowering this year, so that's very exciting. We're probably gonna just leave the flowers and let them just have a year of it. But, you know, I have one here, 2. This one here is another one, 3, 4, 5, and then a bright yellow one, 6. But really excited to see the flowers, and then we should be able to have the berries in the fall. Excited about my plum tree. We've got a couple of plums, so this is its first year. Just as a rabbit trail, love this California lilac. It just blooms fantastic, full of bees, and the fragrance is just blowing all over the place. I love this one so much that I planted 2 here at the front of my house. I'm letting it go for right now, and I will prune it so that we keep under control. I used to have barberry here. Barberry trees are beautiful. You can see it there, red. So, you know, it must have had a little bit of a root left in it. But barberries are beautiful to look at, but awful once you're pruning, and if anything falls to the ground. I'd be, you know, digging in the garden and weeding and stuff, and there would be their little thorns and stuff, and I just went, okay, you know, enough of this. I'm getting stabbed all the time in my hands. So we pulled them out, and then I put these bush style California lilacs in here, and so it's just wonderful. And then my favorite part is once the petals fall, the petal carnage of purple and blue all over the ground is just so fun. So here's garden bed number 1. I ended up buying broccoli starts, so I have a section of broccoli there and also going along the front, and in between there I've got some alyssum. I'm probably going to regret planting the alyssum in there because it comes out back year after year, and it will probably overtake the entire garden bed. The su choy is in the back. We got some of the baby bok choy that you can see there, but most of all the other su choys have all just bolted and gone to seed. You know, is it too warm? Is it too cold? Is it too warm? Is it too cold? You know, the plants just don't have any idea about what kind of weather we're having. So I'll probably be pulling all those out. In the center there, I do have a spaghetti squash, and I am going to let him kind of meander through the garden. I've got my tomatillos. I've got 3 here. Brussels sprouts that I got from my friend Anita. They're all in there. And then in behind there is the celeriac. And of course my pole beans, which they're in those 2 spots. Let's go have a look at them. It's a sad day for the pole beans. So these are the Romano pole beans. But as I said, the slugs, as you can see, the slugs. They just decimated. They were just decimating. So I did put some slug bait in hopes that it would prevent them. And so far things are looking a little bit better. I did throw in a couple more beans just recently in hopes. Tomatillo flowering. Behind me is a 3-tiered garden. There's really no point in looking at it because that's where the tomatoes go. And there is, well, there's 3 tomatoes in there, but all my tomatoes dead. And so I'm growing some more. They are in my coverless greenhouse. Look at it. We had crazy gusts of winds and it tore up my plastic for the 2nd time. As I mentioned before, I had, you know, 70 to 90. So these are all have been replanted and they are doing just fine in here, which is great. These over here are plants that were volunteers that I pulled out of the garden. I thought, let me give them a fighting chance, put them in some good soil. I'm trying to grow a peanut. Not sure if it's going to work. I might have to put it back into the studio. So I had some great grand ideas for this bed. As you can see, I do have some romaine lettuce growing there. And so with each tier, I was going to have, tomatoes. So that would help to block it and let me have it grow. So this beautiful tomato, I think is strawberry cherry tomato. Hard to see it with the raspberry in behind, but you can see it there. This is an orange cherry, and then I just planted these 2 cherry tomatoes. In the back is another variety. So once those tomato plants get bigger, they will fill in. I did have some success for the first time with my radishes. Usually my radishes, they start to come up, and then they don't make the ball, the globe on them. And so I actually planted radishes all in around the tomatoes. Garden bed number 2, it's coming along. For the longest time, it was not coming along. My corn, I have a bit of corn that's over here. I have planted, I did put some more seed in yesterday. There is more corn here that's sprouting that I'm going to add to it as well. Peas in the back for them to go way up. Some cabbages. In there is some beets. I did, since the okra, I'm going to try okra this year, so I have 2 different kinds of okra here. One is from a Canadian company and the other one is from the United States. And then I'm going to have some kohlrabi and some turnips. The ever powerful giant zucchini will be in that corner. That are growing in my garden bed number 3. Got my purple cabbages, and I think deep in there is a few red beets beside our espaliered apple tree, which does have some apples. I've got my cauliflower on this side. This is the carrots that if you watched in the past, I was trying a cornstarch gel to see if I could keep my carrots in a row, which I did, but I think again the poor weather has just prevented them from growing. So I'm also trying another technique of I've planted a different variety of carrot under these boards, putting the seed down under the board, and that's just to keep it pressed, also will help to keep the moisture in. There again in this little corner, some sad little beets. Our kiwi plant is flowering. Last year we got 1 little fuzzy kiwi, but this year there are quite a few on our beautiful kiwi plant. So I'm excited about that. And then on the other side, still in its pot, this is a grape style kiwi, and it also has some buds on it. So I think we're gonna be able to have some other fruits. This is my hot pepper bed. So I have some cayenne, some jalapenos, cherry bomb, things like that. Again, I've covered it around with the straw. These pepper plants were planted up in March, and you can see they're so tiny. But I've put purple alyssum, so that'll be a very pretty looking bed. So the straw in here I think is okay because I put the straw down first and then I put the holes in so nothing has to come up. Thanks for hanging in with me. We're almost done the tour. The only place that's looking lush and healthy is my lettuces. This is where we have the herb garden. So my strawberry tower, there's some basil on the other side. I've got oregano and lemon balm, and then this was our new stand that we built, which I just love. And look at the lettuces. They're loving this colder weather. Look at all those lettuces and cilantro, lots of that growing. I do have a couple of slicing cukes that are flowering. There's another one in the planter there, so that's I'm excited about. This basil, he's doing okay. I'm not sure what exactly he needs. I see this is a alpine strawberry, so I see it's flowering. Some more peppers. So that is the tour, the grand tour of June 15th. What's going on in Maureen's garden. Well, I do feel better about the fact that the lack of growth is, due to the poor soil and the poor weather. So that is, like I said, is making me feel better. The straw, I was trying this out as something new this year to see. I'm not sure if that is going to be the best bet. Like, I'm wondering with some of my plants that I started with seed that I should have just left the bed open and let, once the plants come up and get established, then put the straw. But the whole point of the straw is to keep that moisture in, so I'm not having to water. And also, with it being so windy here, it's drying our soil very, very quickly. I don't think I had anything else to say or show you, but anyway, I hope you are having a great day wherever you are. Happy June 15th. Oh, but wait, we should have a little look at where the chicken babies are at. They're in with the big girls in the big run. This is 3 of the big girls, but if you look, the chicken babies are not quite babies anymore. A couple are having a dust bath. One's just perched on there. And there's old Gertie. So everybody's growing big. That's Miss Betty. Miss Betty is on there. That's Miss Betty. That's Cleo.